What's going on, everybody? Delaware Defender here. Just thought I'd start off a new video series. Haven't done this before, so kind of be easy on me on the comments, but provide some feedback if you would. Just want to try some camouflage techniques using Cerakote Firearms coating, specifically the Cerakote C-series, which is the air cure process. Cerakote makes two different types. Actually, you make 3 or 4 different types, but the two for that I like to use are the H-series, which is an oven cure method, and then of course the C-series, which is in the air and curing type of paint. Cerakote by far, I've tried them, Duracoat, Cerakote, you name it, coat, but Cerakote by far has been the best product I've ever used. I have a Beretta PX4 full-size 40 caliber, and did some graphite black and flat dark earth on that, and I've already put another probably 250 rounds through that weapon and not a mark on it. It holds up great. It's just an excellent paint, and for very little money you can do it yourself. Cerakote recommends, of course, having a technician, a certified and trained technician, to put it on. But with a few basic steps and just reading their book, they provide you manuals. Of course, go to YouTube. You can find videos all over the place about how to do it. And it's a lot of fun to do. Customize your own weapons. And Cerakote's good for everything, not just weapons. Anything you want to paint and do yourself, Cerakote's got the paint for you. The video you're about to see is I'm going to be doing prep work for an M16 or AR-15 flat top unit that I've got some Magpul furniture on, and it's a lot of fun. The stuff you'll see is the furniture you'll see is the Magpul flat dark earth, but I'm going to give it a facsimile thereof of a British DPM type of camouflage. So again, first time. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll be back to see you at the end of the process. Delaware Defender signing off. Thanks. Okay. What you're looking at is an AR-15 broken down into the major parts for painting anyway. And as you can see, I've already taped off the parts that I want to tape off. The upper receiver and barrel. Don't want to get the inside really painted. Looking for the parts that are going to be outside of my foregrips. Mounted on my top foregrip for my Magpul MOE stuff is a TLR1 light, probably one of the best lights I've ever used. And I want it to be camouflaged as well, so I taped off the lenses, all the ports for the pressure switch and the on and off switch. So I've taped them off, and even though this is already MOE or Magpul flat dark earth, you still want to kind of give it a blast a little bit to make the paint adhere better. And you can see I've got my tactical sling clip there. I'm going to do that as well. For the bottom grip, you can see I have a pressure switch on there. I'm going to make sure that I blast everything. I don't want to mess too much with the switch here. They're not inexpensive to buy. So I've got that set out. My lower receiver, I've just got the inside of the magazine well taped, as you can see. I want to make sure that I kind of keep that same slide and good feel to the magazine inserts when I put them in there. Just kind of plugged up the tube here with a buffer and buffer spring to go into. Just kind of don't want to mess with the firing mechanisms too much in there, so I've taped that up. But everything else, even down here where I keep my extra batteries, Allen wrenches, things like that, I'm going to go ahead and camo her up too. And you'll notice I have my sling or my stock pulled back all the way. I want to make sure that the Cerakote is on all of the black parts. Cerakote's very durable. I've used it before. It's awesome. Use it on my Beretta PX4 Storm full size, and got a mark on it. So anyhow, I kind of got to lay this out here. As you can see, I'm outdoors, but I'm using soda blaster. Uses baking soda, and this works really good. Picked this up at Harbor Freight. Very inexpensive, very easy to use. Comes you get everything with it. Very easy to use, very easy to fill. And I'm operating off of another piece of Harbor Freight equipment, Central Pneumatic. About 90 pounds per square inch on this, and it uses baking soda. You can see some of it here. I've been blasting other parts. You can see there's some little bit of it here. And what the good thing is, it keeps it's very good for the environment. As soon as the rain comes by, it's gone, and it's baking soda. So let's get ready to do some sandblasting on these parts, or better yet, let's do some soda blasting. It's a lot better. Let's see what happens. As you can see here, well, probably pretty good, but I went ahead and blasted my red dot scope and laser outfit. Went in and blasted it and got the most of, you need blasting down pretty good. And same for my scope here. Blasted it down, took the sheen off so it'll accept the Cerakote. Very intricate stuff, so it took me a while on these. And you can see earlier, I've taken, before I go out in Cerakote, I took my butt plate off of my Magpul stock, the buffer spring out, plugged up the holes. Also took off the M-bus pop-up sight for that. It's good to have an X-Acto knife to kind of cut things out with it and put it on there, but we'll go out and do some more of that. Okay, got my soda blaster hooked up to my machine. Got it just about 90 pounds per square inch. You don't want to go over 90 pounds on that. And same thing here for my regulator here. I've got it right at 90 pounds. Probably open that up a little bit more. Give it, there we go, about 90 pounds. You got to have a good compressor, at least 125 psi, maybe 21 gallon, 15 gallon, something like that might do it, but this one works well for me. As you can see, you got the soda blaster here. It's got a little nozzle for on and off. Sometimes you got to shake this depending on how well you filled it. I pretty well filled it, pretty good with the blast media of the soda. And you've got ceramic nozzles for this. So let's get started. One of the things, okay, I think I'm going to start with the upper receiver and barrel. So I'm going to set all these aside and do them one at a time. You got to get your gloves on and a good pair of safety glasses, and you'll be okay. Okay, we're going to give it a start. Just kind of make sure nobody's around. Baking soda's harmless, but make sure your windows are rolled up if you're doing this outside. It's the best place to do it is outside, of course, unless you have a big garage or something. But even then, I'd rather not, you know, do it inside if I can. So I'm going to turn on and we'll get started. If the compressor comes on, you have to forgive me. It's pretty loud, but we got to have a compressor. So let's go ahead and move on. Might be out of material already. Let's find out. Okay, folks, I'm going to speed up the camera here a little bit, get past this. The main thing you want to remember is when you're using the soda blasting media, it's not as harsh as some of your sulfur dioxides and other materials, crushed walnut, things like that. So it takes a little bit more time, but it does a great job. Keep your nozzle about 4 to 6 inches away from the material, especially if you're doing polymers. And just make sure that when you're done with your blasting, give it a quick dust off with your air hose or brush, and make sure that there's no shiny parts left, because if there's shiny parts left, you don't want to you want to keep going. You want to go back and redo those areas. So again, just as you can see, a good pair of gloves that'll help, and decent glasses. Safety glasses are fine. If you want to use an air mask or nose and mouth mask, that's fine too. But if you got a good breeze like I do blowing away, you're pretty good. Okay, as you can see, you've got a good flat brazed surface on this. You want a very good clean, no parkerization, no paint, no nothing on there. And we're going to degrease this too, of course, when we're done with it. But you can see it's pretty flat. Going to run it through a degreaser, and it should be ready for some Cerakote. Okay, the upper receiver went really well, so I'm looking forward to getting this one done. Nothing much to say but to start blasting. Okay, hi folks, Delaware Defender here. Just wanted to move on to the next step. What we want to make sure of course, as I mentioned in the prior clip of the video, is that you want to make sure that after you're done sandblasting all of your parts, and you've gotten them where you want them to be, and there's no clean finish on them or anything, you want to make sure that you degrease them completely. Now, you can degrease them if you have the equipment. You can degrease them in a regular firearms degreaser in a nice bin or everything. But I'll tell you, one of the easiest ways that I've found working with cleaning these guns, and it's worked for me every time without any problems, is the use of degreasers from a can. And I'll show you what I mean. There's several different cleaners on the market. You can get 3M, you can get all types of cleaners and degreasers, but I like to use this plain old brake cleaner. And I like to use the non-chlorinated. It's a little better for the environment, but again, when you use this on your parts, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to start with some of the smaller parts. When you use this, the reason it's so easy to use is that it will remove all the grease, and then when you're done, there's no oil or grease residue left on there. Be careful when you spray this, make sure it's away from your face. As you can see here, this is the top grip for my system, and you can see where I've kind of blasted it pretty well there. Covered the lens, covered all the portholes when I was blasting it, so now I just need to make sure I clean this, especially the exterior, and again, knock it down. It's good when you have a good high pressure, high power spray of a system. And what's good about this, it doesn't hurt the electronics even if it does leak in. It does an excellent job, and you're done. Dry all together. Again, we're going to do it on this. Nice stiff spray of your brake cleaner, degreaser, whatever you choose. I just like the way this degreaser does. It washes everything completely off. You want to make sure you get it all, because any little bit of grease to cause your paint job to fail. Here are my optics. Left the caps on for my scope. So I'm going to give this a quick rinse down, especially the mount, and get it done. Even the rubber parts. This stuff dries up so fast, it's amazing. You'll be able to see, just by holding this here, looking at the cap, you can see that it dries instantly. There's no water, no nothing. Use whatever's good for you. It's a little expensive doing it this way, but again, you don't have any cleanup to do. It doesn't stay in the ground, it doesn't go in the earth, and it's just pretty good stuff. I'm going to move on to my upper receiver and barrel. You can see I still have it taped. You can see, if you look close, you can see that there's still some of the blasting media along the port. So you want to make sure none of that's on there. Even from handling after I blasted it, you can still see some of the oils from my hands and from taking it apart and blasting it. So we're going to get rid of all that. They don't have too much left in this can, so matter of fact, I have none. Knock this out. You can use regular gun cleaner, degreaser. There's a couple of brands out there. Can't think of it right now, but I've used it before, and it's the same thing. I've read the contents going online, and it's the same thing as brake cleaner. Birchwood Casey makes a good product. A little more expensive than this. There's my dust cover here. That should do it. Notice I'm wearing gloves. I don't want to get any more hand and oil greases or anything on that. So put that there to dry. Move on to my other piece here. My stock, again, you can see we're blasting pretty good. I even put a rough bead on the polymer so that the paint will have a good adherence. Stay on there. From this point here, I'm going to take this paint, this stuff off here, because all my workings on the inside, you got some blast media in it. You can tape it up all you want, but it's still going to get some in there. So it's good to go ahead and remove that, because you're going to end up cleaning this anyway. You can see a little blast media in there. Alright, how much we got left in this can? I'm going to start here. I'm going to release my trigger. There we go. Get it all cleaned out. all the grease out. You want to make sure you get all the grease out. That'll do it. That'll take a good 3 or 4 minutes to dry completely, but as you can see, it's already dried. Just a little bit of, kind of said that'll dry up. Usually happens with metal, so maybe I ought to hit that one again, right? Let's try to hit that one again. Make sure we're getting it all. Okay, I'm getting my prep area ready for painting, and what I'm using is I've got my workbench here where I used to work on my guns and stuff anyway, and what I've done is I've turned it into a little small miniature paint booth. Got all my tools moved out of the way, and I put down some corrugated stuff, board that I had laying around just to cover the surface, and set up a little place here where I can paint, and when I'm ready to paint, to keep the paint out of the rest of the place, I turn on the fan, suck it through. I've got an old fan that I use, and that should keep most of the fumes out, and because you definitely want to keep the fumes out, and it's good to do it so that you're knitting the heat, a lot of heat outside, so you don't want the Cerakote to flash off before it gets to your surface of your weapon. So this is what I'm going to be doing. First time doing it again, so let's keep our fingers crossed. But I kind of like it. It's kind of a nice little setup. And got my airbrush here ready. And I've got my containers, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, I'm getting ready to get set up and set up my paint. As you can see, I'm going to start off as my base coat as using some Cerakote Magpul flat dark earth. Hopefully it'll be a good match. Again, this is something I've only done once before, and I used one color. So I've got my airbrush. Always have a good airbrush. Using that will help you ensure that you're getting a good quality job done. Make sure that you've tested it. And I'm gonna, once I get this painted, once I get the bottle full, I'm going to do a couple of splotches and sprays and spray right here on the board and see how the paint's coming out, so what kind of pattern I'm getting before I start painting the weapon. Biggest thing is you don't want any runs, anything. You want to do very light coat. You're only talking about 0.5 to 1 mil of a coat on this stuff. That's all it takes. And when you apply it, you got to apply it on a clean surface. And hopefully that's what's going to happen here. So let's get to mixing some paint. Or not even mixing it, just pouring it and getting it to go. This is Cerakote Magpul Flat Dark Earth. Okay, we're going to try to give it a shot here. folks, moving right along here. As you can see, put my base coat of flat dark earth Magpul, flat dark earth, and you'll be able to see that it matches exactly my original furniture on the AR. So next thing I need to do is my selector slit, or my selector lever, and my lower, get the lower done, and hopefully we'll get her going. Okay, folks, kind of put this together for now the way I want it. Put it back together so I can start my templates for my camouflage. Did a basic quick coat, Cerakote. You only need one coat, and matches pretty good. I don't know about the color here. See if I can help you. I'm trying not to touch any of the painted surfaces. That's a little better. You can see that little touch up to do. Man, it's starting to look good. Definitely a different rifle. Stay tuned. As you can see, I have my AR system set up with the base coat that I wanted, and we're going to move on and put some stencils on here. Now I'm going to be using the British DPM. I'm not even sure what DPM stands for, but I did like the way it looked on the weapon when I saw a weapon done British DPM. And inside of this package that I got from Brownells are about 30 or 35, maybe even more, stencils. And as you probably know, you have male and you have female stencils. And here on, take for instance this one here, depending on whether you can see. The male stencil is the one that we're going to lift out. The female is the one that we've lifted out of. And I'm not sure if you can see them. So we're going to start with a few of these and just start placing them on the weapon. Looks pretty good. So let's, I'm going to pull a few out and I'm going to start working on these. Let me grab my X-Acto knife. I just use the X-Acto knife just to help lift. Okay. Well, I've applied the vinyl to both sides of the rifle. It's actually a little more difficult than what I thought it was, and these particular stencils, I don't know if it's indicative of the ones that Brownell sells, what company they sell, but they don't have a very good adhesion. So I'm finding that I'm having to really keep an eye on these and keep them pushed down. So that means I'm going to have to, when I do my airbrushing on this particular layer, I'm going to have to be very careful and get this right. So I think that I'm ready, but just not satisfied too much. I mean, it looks like it'll be fine, but I'm not satisfied with the way these are sticking, if you'll see here, or not sticking, I should say. There's hardly any adhesion to them. And I read this earlier from some reviews that they don't stick very well, and that they pretty well suck. But you know, it's just like movies. I have to find out for myself whether I like it or not. I don't trust too much of anybody else's word unless I know them. But I'm going to try this and see how well it comes out. And we'll see what happens. Wish me luck again. Thanks, guys. Let's get to painting. Okay, can't find a better thing to do on a rainy day than to go outside and do some painting. So I'm going to give this a shot, and we'll see how well it comes out. We'll see what happens. Okay, as you can see here, I've moved back into the paint booth, and I'm applying the actual third layer, or the female part of the stencils. And I'll tell you, I'm just not impressed with these particular stencils, nor the dog barking in my background there. She's my golden retriever wanting in. But anyway, you can see I'm using painter's tape to hold this stuff down. I didn't want to do that. I was concerned that it would mess with the paint, but in the end it really didn't. So I won't be buying these stencils anymore. They suck. But it did get the job done. Just took a lot of extra work that shouldn't have had to. Hope you enjoyed. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. It's time for the reveal, and a few things before we get started. I wanted to go over about what I experienced during this real short. I think the biggest thing that disappointed me were the stencils. The stencils did not hold up as well as I thought. They had hardly any adhesion to the weapon, whether it was on clean surface, unpainted surfaces, or with surfaces that were painted. Pretty disappointed, so I'm not sure how this is going to come out. I didn't use as much flat black, graphite black as I thought I would, because of the third layer of stencils that I had to use. Just wasn't what I wanted it to be. So we're going to do the unwrapping, the unveiling of the weapon as it is, and we'll see how it looks. The good thing is, if I don't like it, I'll strip it down and start all over again and do something different. So let's see. Let's find out what we got. Alright. Here's the weapon. As you can see here, I covered the parts that I didn't want to hit with black with regular painter's blue tape. So tell you what, I'm going to bring this a little bit closer to you so we can hopefully get a better shot. So I'm just going to be careful not touch anything yet, because it's still got a cure. But I'm just going to start taking stuff off and see what we have. Well, as you can see, that turned out pretty good. I like what I did. Just enough black on there. Could have used a little more black in certain places, but I think I'm pretty well pleased with that. Cerakote goes on very good. I like the way it covers and handles. It was a fun project to do, and I'm going to be doing this same camo pattern on my night scope and my red dot scope. Turn it around for you. Forgot to take the tape off the front of my gun. But not bad. The lines are crisp. The lines are pretty clean. Still have some tape on there. Right down to the serial numbers and the barrel stamps. Everything's pretty good. Now we'll just get it cleaned up, wipe it down, get any residue paint off, and I'll clear coat it matte color, and that'll protect the paint. And there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, it's not too bad, pretty easy. Enjoy yourself, try it, give it a shot. You can always, you can just always start over again if you don't like it. My next project is going to be probably a digital camouflage, and I'm going to be using some different camos. So tune back in next time. Hope you enjoyed what you saw, and good luck to you. Delaware Defender signing out.